welcome. It is a beautiful day here in Mount Shasta City Park. I'm really happy to be here with you on Heritage Day. It is about noon, and so I want to say the prayer and also read, for those who may be new, the little passage that comes before it because it's so beautiful. Like a raging river, the past flows into the present. Lo, this river carries all the good and bad things of previous generations and deposits both on the shore of the present, which is your shore. Yea, the sins of your ancestors are present in your blood, as the sins of past cultures are present in your customs. Embrace the helpful things of previous generations, but reject the hurtful. And pray that you pass on better things to the next generation. So, the midday peace contemplation for today is: our God and Goddess, immanent and transcendent, send to all your angel of peace. May wisdom guide us as we accept or reject things from the past. May your angel of wisdom bless all that we pass on to the future. And I'm just going to say a little word of prayer on my own for us. So, thank you, God and Goddess, for this beautiful realm that you created for us to play and enjoy and experience all of the ups and downs and happies and highs and lows, We thank you for it all because ultimately it is working for the good. And we ask that you show us in a tangible way or help us feel your comfort and love for us so that while we walk in these dark worlds, you are with us and we can feel that. Please strengthen, guide us, and give us what we need to survive the day, and even further than that, to give us what we need so that we can bless others and help others in need and uplift this world in the ways that we can. Amen. Some of the things that I wrote down here for Heritage Day that we could do. Hey, David D. and Kyle. Hopefully you are doing well. Shout out to everybody else who is watching now and also later. So the first thing that I have here is journal your story. Talk about what you've inherited, not on a physical level, but more on a spiritual level, the stories, what wounds you have experienced, what values have been passed to you, what expectations that you may have been placed under, or expectations that you have for the future, all of that. And looking at these things, what of these things that you've inherited, what are these stories, whatever, what brings pride and what brings pain? What are good things? What are valuable things that we should pass on? And what are things that we shouldn't? Interview your elders to learn about their experiences, their wisdom and regrets. And most importantly, listen without judgment, trying to have compassion and understanding that everyone is really trying to do the best that they can where they're at. And there's a lot of different agendas going on to try to keep us down and make us act in various ways, usually bring out the worst in us. A lot of stresses and pressures, even the expectations, the hurt from the past that we're bringing as well. So having that compassion and trying to go in with unconditional love and forgiveness, and even being that love and support that they didn't have at that time as well. Asking them maybe, what do you wish that you had back then? What kind of support didn't you have as well? How were your parents? Were they supportive of you? Did they show you unconditional love? Things like that. Study your heritage. Dance and sing to your native music. This is not something that I have done, but it definitely feels like something that I would really like to do. After I wrote it this morning, I'm like, oh yeah, I really would love to figure out more about where my family comes from, and so that I can see my heritage, but also see what things, the good and the bad, because everyone has the good and the bad in their past, right? Even if it's just eating animals, which is usually the start of the corruption. And the last one here that I have is, what gifts have I been given through my family? Many of you will notice, like, my family, my mom is a nurse. Well, she's not a nurse anymore. She's a nurse practitioner. Like, she's gone down the line. But my mom's a healer. My grandma's a healer. Like, I come from a line of healers. So for one, that is one of the gifts that my family carries. And just keep in mind that all of these gifts, they've all been tainted over time, right? So the healers, at first they're burned at the stake, right, the witches, and then they're only directed towards big pharma in order to live out those inner dreams of bandaging up your wounds and, you know, kissing your boo-boos and sending you on your way. You know, it gets twisted, unfortunately, into that instead of someone that is walking the path of nature and understanding holistic medicine and how our dietary intake is like the number one thing that is causing the problems in the first place for us, mind, body, and soul. What we eat is not just causing physical problems, but it causes mental fog. It causes a lot of issues. Even the idea of accepting animal eating as okay, that is a lack of empathy and compassion, and it's not the way that God created us. God and Goddess created us. That's not natural. You've heard it said, I'm sure, if you put a rabbit in an apple or a rabbit in some berries in front of a child, the child is going to embrace the rabbit and want to snuggle it, and the child's going to eat the berries, right? It's not going to be like, oh, how can I tear apart this rabbit and you know, use its coat for fur and eat it, you know? So all of our family gifts, we all have gifts, and you might see them through your lineage, and even though they may be corrupted, how maybe you can restore those. Maybe it's not healing, maybe it is teaching. Maybe you're supposed to be a preacher, maybe you're supposed to not preacher, teacher, whatever you would like to call it. You figure out yourself, you know, figure out your calling. Some of the practical ways to rethink traditions, family traditions. The first thing that I have is discern the essence. So figuring out what was the original soul or wisdom behind this tradition. It's not just throwing out traditions blindly, although you can. Obviously, you need to decide what you carry on into the future and what you pass on to future generations. Some traditions need to go completely. Some of them we can say, okay, what was the original meaning behind this, and what can we do to restore that, which is the second one. Rewild and regrow. Restore teachings that were lost due to whatever reasons, whether it's colonization, industrialization, the dogma that's taught by the church, burning the witches. Even in the Nazarene text, we hear about them being persecuted and their teachings being lost over time. When the Nazarenes go into slavery, for instance, right now, we're all in slavery, right? And we are the remnant. I can't speak for all of you, but I know that many of you that are hearing my voice now know inside that you are the remnant of that seed. You're the children of the light. We came here to bear the light in this dark world and help uplift souls. So a lot of our different practices, even the earth-based teachings, and celebrating the earth in the different seasons that she goes through, those are really beautiful things that should be cherished. And for me, at least, I can't speak for everybody, but for me, I want to be teaching my children to dance with Mother Nature and to be worshipful and celebratory of creation and just all of the different ways. And it also gives us just different times to celebrate. We should be having a lot more fun and joyous occasions, and if the moons and the seasons changing give us reason to celebrate and bring joy, let's do it, because we're facing so much stress and unhappiness and bad vibes in the world. We should definitely cherish them when we can get them. And okay, so the last thing that I wanted to share was some of the ways maybe that we can rethink teaching to future generations, or different ways. The first one is modeling humility. Teaching them that spiritual and cultural transformation is a life lifelong journey. So we're all still learning, and having humility in that, having compassion, having love, and understanding with our fellow humans and ourselves is really important. And we don't see that in our world today, especially when everyone thinks that not everyone, so many people think that they know it all, and they're very unwilling to learn, and especially they're just set in their ways the older that they are, and it can be frustrating. We all need to be humble in the journey, knowing that we don't know everything, no matter how old we get. Teach values through story, ritual, service, and example, not just rules. How many times have you heard, because I said so? And there is a line between a lot of the modern parenting and the strict discipline that we were taught. Obviously, children need to have examples. That's what we are here for. And there are ways to guide and teach them. But many of us came from more disciplinary and, because I said so. And I think there's a more gentler approach. A lot of people came from like a spanking household, or more hitting, or more forms of punishment like that. I personally don't believe that is appropriate. I don't ever want my hands to have any negative energy at all towards my children. I only want these to be loving hands. I only want me to be embracing them in love. And that's not to say that you don't discipline your children. It's just to say that I'm not ever gonna smack you or physically harm you in any way. And I'm definitely going to do my best to make sure that I don't emotionally or mentally or harm you in any other way, because that's not what a mom or a dad should do. So, teaching values through story, ritual, service, and example, not just through rules. I love the stories in the Megillah, as you already know. I will definitely be using them to teach my future children, even stories in the Essene Humane Gospel of Peace, the Gospel of the Holy 12, other Essene texts like that. But yeah, I really love how just teaching them through these various things. In the Megillah, it talks about how especially one of the most recent ones was Samson's parents, right? And how they were living examples of the Essenes. And that's what's written in the history, in the book about them, in this Nazarene context in their history. Like I said before, whether you believe it's the history or not, what matters is you take from the stories what you can and use it to grow. And I find that the stories are a lot more inspirational and spiritually based, and they're the ones that resonate with me more, so I will choose them definitely over the biblical narrative. But the last thing here, kind of tied into that as well, expose younger generations to diverse wisdom traditions and not just one rigid worldview. A quote here says, "Let them weave a new tapestry from many strands of sacred truth." I recently went to that full or new moon ceremony last night, which was Hindu based primarily, but it was scientific based. It's not just a spiritual thing. They have different rituals and chants, incantations, to physically connect with the earth element, and other god and goddess, whatever. The Essenes have theirs as well. So different religious groups have their own systems of wisdom, and I think that there is really great teachings that we can learn from all of them, just using discernment to make sure that we only take what is true and leave behind what is false. And I think that for kids, getting exposed to different religions and customs, as long as they are rooted in the truth, which is where we need to get to in the future, right? All of the world's religions have been corrupted at this point, but there is saving truths in them that we need to just restore them, and then they all agree. They just have different, colors and patterns because they're from different cultures, and that beauty should be embraced, and a unifying thing rather than a separating thing. So hopefully Hey Bob, how's it going? Hey Bill. Bob says, I am viewing this live, which is a rare occurrence. Thank you for joining. So I hope some of those things that I've mentioned give you some things to think about today. And yeah, I am planning to join you at 3:30 for a chatting live stream, mainly just talking in the live chat with whatever topics that you guys want to talk about, and maybe whatever other things I feel inspired to talk about in the meantime. So, all that being said, I hope that you will take some time today to contemplate what you can do with your heritage, and embrace the beautiful things, and try to, let go of the evils and the just the bad in it, right? Even just holiday celebrations or family get together is not evil necessarily in itself, but when we add the animal sacrifice to it, that's the problem. So you could still have the same exact gathering just without the animal sacrifice. And I don't know if you guys follow me on Facebook, but the Shasta Vegan community made a wonderful Thanksgiving spread. We had stuffing casserole dish with turkey textured veggie protein. We had mashed potatoes and gravy, agave glazed carrots, corn rolls. We had the whole spread. It was amazing. Everybody loved it. And if we didn't tell them that it was vegan, then they would not have even known. So all of the things that you love, all these celebrations can be pulled to the light side just by making the vegan switch. And I would encourage you to start there, and then maybe if you need some clarification on further redemption on these traditions, then that clarity will come through prayer and obviously purifying your diet so that these channels can become more pure as well. And over time, your taste buds will change as well. The more that you purify, people that have gone on long fruit fasts or whatever, they're like, oh, my taste buds are changing, and what I'm actually craving has changed because, well, one, those parasites are not there any longer. Those parasites that crave flesh, the junk food, the dead animal products, the eggs, all that, those parasites are gone. The demons that are attached to you through those are gone as well. And you can finally start to restore back to the way that our creators intended, which is fruit and herb bearing, seed alone eating, and that's how we will thrive. Hey Tom Tom, hope you're doing well. I'm gonna get back on here at 3:33, so I hope that you will join me. In the meantime, I hope that you have a wonderful day. May God and the Goddess bless you.